Hello, Heritage Village. I have the distinct pleasure of being here with William Cortland, who is a man of many talents. I have known about him for some time. Welcome today, William. It's nice to have you here.
I'm glad to be here.
Okay, the rumor that I heard about you is that you teach at Ollie, and I know that a lot of the villagers here attend Ollie. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do with that organization?
Well, Ollie is a wonderful, wonderful organization in the sense that people are learning and not necessarily learning for the future. And there was a gentleman who's also a presenter that made this point, that Ollie is for right now. So you use what you learn at Ollie right now, not for the future, as you do in most educational systems like that. And that's what's so wonderful about it. It offers many, many different courses, a lot about health, such as Tai Chi and Reiki and Chinese medicine, which is what I offer as well as a number of other things, plus subjects that you could be interested in, like history, photography, and opera, for example.
Uh-huh.
So it stimulates the mind, and as long as your mind is stimulating, it makes new connections, and new neurons connect.
All right.
And that's what we need.
Now, the way that I first knew about you was through the Chinese medicine. A friend of mine took that course. How did you get interested in something like that, and how long have you been pursuing it?
Since I was about 22 years old,
Okay.
when my shoulder froze, and one morning I woke up, and this is all I could do. Nothing else, just this. And I went to the doctors, and everybody looked at it and suggested surgery and all sorts of things, and I didn't want to do that. So I did some research, and I found this Chinese doctor in Westchester County who was an acupuncturist. And I went to see him, and knowing nothing about acupuncture, which is a series of needles that they put into your body to move energy and blood.
Mm-hmm.
Because when energy and blood in Chinese medicine congeals or stagnates, you have all of the diseases that plague us. So after 4 sessions with his needles and massage therapy with herbs, I was able to regain complete motion, range of motion in my arm. And that was the beginning of saying, there's something to this.
So acupuncture was not really a very popular science or
Not at that
mode
time,
of medicine
No.
then.
No.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm always interested in medicine and health and spirituality. And
Okay.
they're all like this in Chinese medicine. So that was my introduction. And since I did have that introduction and I pursued it, I began to study it and found this very, very old Chinese woman, about 5'3", who became my teacher for 9 years.
Oh, wow.
In the evenings and on weekends.
Wow,
And brought
that's...
me into the principles of Chinese medicine.
Now, how much of what is studied with herbs, for example, would have been true with some of the wise women and some of the supposedly doctors in, like, Native American? Is that all connected?
It's all connected, and herbology is really, really a separate science, and it takes a lot of time to study that. But yet, it is the same thing, and in many cases, what's so interesting is what you just mentioned. It was the woman's domain, more than the men, because she understood what it meant to go into the forest and know exactly what to take and come back and mix them in the proper ways. Isn't that fascinating?
It's wonderful, yes. Go
Absolutely.
women.
Absolutely.
Now, can you go out into the woods around here and find things that could be used in Oriental medicine?
Probably, but I don't have that kind of a background. But
Okay.
it would take a lot of knowledge for that.
Uh-huh.
My path was through psychology and body work.
Okay.
And that's one part of Chinese medicine. It has so many parts. It has, everything from arranging your house, feng shui,
Right.
to herbology, to acupressure, to acupuncture, to tai chi, exercise, nutrition. It's a vast study. So one can't do everything. So I decided to just concentrate on the spiritual, psychological aspect and body work called acupressure.
acupressure. Is that part of, I know that you have a background in massage therapy.
Yes.
Is that a particular aspect of massage therapy, or is it just a technique that you learn, or is it like a specialty?
It's kind of a specialty in the sense that acupuncture, which is what I had originally,
Right.
a doctor will take a needle and put it in a certain point, whereas acupressure presses that point. Now, right now, I'm pressing your large intestine 15. So
Okay.
a Chinese doctor who's an acupuncturist would put a needle in there. But you do get similar effects, but you need the needles when this condition is chronic and has been there for a very long time, because it's deeper in the body, and the needle gets deeper and moves all that blood and qi. That's the idea behind it.
So energy is isn't qi energy?
Qi is Chinese for energy, yes. Energy is the basis of it. Energy, which is more masculine and yang, and blood, which is more yin and feminine. And those are the two principles of Chinese medicine.
So it isn't
Male
yin and yang.
That's it.
I know, but
Yin, yang.
Yin, yang, okay.
Right. And you notice which one is first? The woman.
The woman.
Yin. The yang, second, the male. That's exactly the way it is.
All right. Now, if I picked up your book, A Medicine from the Spirit, would I have to study it for a long time, or is it more about the history or the way it works or the spiritual side? I'm very interested in spirituality, so you had mentioned that. And it certainly sounds like there's a lot of spirituality involved
There
in
is,
what
yes.
you're doing.
Yeah, this is a medicine that is rooted in spirit. That's why I called my book A Medicine from Spirit. Now that sounds strange to us because the word spirit is only found in your temple, your mosque, or your church. Not in your doctor's office. So if you go to your doctor and you say, will you look for my spirit? They will lock you up, probably. But basically, what Chinese medicine says is that the doctor first looks at the individual to see the condition of their spirit. Because if their spirit is present, they will recover. If their spirit is not there, the prognosis is very grave. Now that's a medicine whose foundation is on spirit, and everything else comes afterwards.
Okay, now I once did a workshop that was kind of like a hands-on thing where you were supposed to be able to feel people's energy. And when I've done some drumming, I've always been very energized by that. Can you actually feel a spirit as a practitioner, or is it just a whole bunch of circumstances?
You feel the energy that comes from spirit. But spirit is that mystery which is so, you're not able to define it. But if you look at someone who, for example, is not well, and there's someone right next to them who's not well, and you speak to them, and one of them says, I don't care about anything, I'm just so depressed, I've lost all interest in life, that person's spirit would be very weak. The other one would say, you know, I feel really bad and miserable, but I want to do all these things in life. I feel like I want to accomplish something. That would indicate that the spirit is still very strong. So you see, it's a very indirect way of identifying what that is. And you also look in the person's eyes.
Okay.
And you could see someone who is very, very lethargic, very down, and has no interest in life, their spirit would be very weak. Whereas the other one would have a zest for life. And that's what a doctor looks for.
That's interesting, because a lot of times people will say, gee, you just look so happy, you know, and you know, your eyes are sparkling, or, you know, that
The eyes tell a lot.
describe that. Yeah, that's.
You could also see something else in one's eyes.
Okay.
Anger,
Yes.
right? That's true for everybody too. And that means there's something going on with their liver.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I thought that made blood pressure rise when you got angry.
It does, but the way Chinese medicine looks at it, all that anger is come in the liver and is pushed to the heart.
Okay.
And then the pressure goes up.
Okay. So if I came to you as a patient and said, I just kind of feel like I have no energy. You know, I get a lot of sleep. I eat relatively well. I don't exercise as much as I should. And I'm telling you all these things are true. I don't use tobacco anymore. I drink moderately. But there's just something missing. How would you start, aside from looking in my eyes and, maybe feeling my skin or whatever, touching to see if my intestine is fine. I'm sorry, I'm not making fun of you, William.
No, I think it's adorable.
How does one go about starting like a diagnosis?
I got it. However, I have to make something very clear. I'm not a doctor and I don't treat diseases.
Right.
Okay, so I don't diagnose. But basically, what I teach my students is what I've done through a lifetime. The first thing you do is you ask the person. You do a lot of questioning.
Okay.
And the first thing I'm going to say to you is, do you eat a lot of fresh? Let's say you're that person, right? You're saying you come to me and I'm a body worker, which is what I am. And I say to you, do you eat a lot of fresh food? Or do you eat more canned or frozen or packaged food?
Mostly fresh food.
That's good. It's wonderful. Okay. Do you exercise?
Not very much.
Now we have the first aspect of maintaining your health. One has to exercise.
Yes.
Okay, that's the most important thing. Second thing is, do you have something that you love to do?
Yes.
That is really expressing the chi in your heart. And do you do it on a regular basis?
Yes, I think I do.
Okay,
And
so this is something that you do for yourself, for no one else. You understand?
I was going to say it's my passion for my family.
Well, that's fine.
Which I do for myself.
That's fine.
Creatively, I'm kind of at a low point.
Okay.
Right at the moment, I just kind of hit a wall with probably one of the things that I was most creative with.
So that's a possibility. It's wonderful to love one's family, and it's really great. But when you express or do something that you love to do, even bake, draw, sew, make things, whatever, okay? Listen to music, write music, play an instrument. You are expressing your chi, particularly that which is in your heart. And that is a big component to health. Because if you are not doing that, that energy stagnates. And whatever stagnates implodes and creates problems in the body, not only in the heart, in all these other places. It has to be moved. Your energy must be moved. And being who you are is a wonderful way to express that energy.
Oh, so when I sing, for example, because I do sing.
How do you feel when you sing?
Oh, I love it.
There you go. And you use an interesting word, love. And where does that come from?
Right, that comes from my soul.
That's it.
And my spirit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. My wife is a tapper, and then that's what she loves to do. And she's wonderful when she does it.
And
She
you
feels
like to
great.
teach, don't you?
I love to teach
Yeah.
because that's my gift. So Chinese medicine says everybody has a gift. Find it.
Wow. Well, what a challenge you are offering all of us here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because one of the reasons that Charlotte Shapiro and I even considered this show was to look at the gifts that we have in the village, in people like yourself and like each other, to get to know them a little bit. And this is kind of like a course in Ollie.
Right, it is.
I mean, this
Exactly.
particular few minutes is like a course in Ollie. I mean, it's like you've sparked all of these things that I particularly want more answers to. And I'm sure that many of the people that are listening to us and even some of the people here in the studio may want to all of a sudden pounce and, ask you a few more questions.
That's fine. I can give a number of suggestions too of things that I see in this village that go against the principles of Chinese medicine. And one of them is nobody or very few people wear a hat in the winter. And that's one of the first things you need to do. You get past 55, put the hat on. You're going from an overly heated house into a very cold environment, and I see people walking around without a hat. And that's really opening yourself to disease, particularly pneumonia. Because this is where you lose all your heat. It goes out the top of your head, and you need to conserve that because as we age, our body cools down. We need to keep that fire burning.
Is that why we get chilly, like if we get tired
Exactly.
or in the evening,
Exactly.
sometimes after
That's
dinner?
exactly it. Absolutely. Wearing a hat, wearing a scarf, And when you come out of an overly heated house, 70 degrees or more in the winter, and it's freezing outside, put a scarf across your mouth, because your lungs cannot take that extreme contrast. Very hot, very cold.
That's interesting, because sometimes I feel absolutely invigorated when I go out on a crisp or a cold day.
Well, that's good. You should.
And no, but I take a great big breath. And I know. Okay, I'm learning right now that I'm not supposed to do that.
Be careful.
But I will be careful of that. Can I take it through a scarf?
You can, but allow the body to adjust to
and
that
then do it.
extreme range in temperature.
Yeah, and then we get into a heated car, so we have that problem. And then we get out, and then we go into the
Right.
store. So we're kind of like on and off and on and off and on and off.
It's no accident that most of the diseases we get are in the cold weather, particularly upper respiratory diseases. In the summer, we don't have as much. We don't have a tremendous change. However, now we have air conditioning, and we've done it in reverse.
You know, it's really interesting this past summer when we had a couple of those really hot days. I thought back to when I was a kid. We didn't have air conditioning. We
That's
sat
right.
on the porch and swung, on a swing, or we rode our bikes down to the beach
Exactly.
and went swimming and cooled
Exactly.
off. And, the only time we had air conditioning is when we went to the movies.
Exactly.
And now it is so taken for granted, like my grandchildren, for example. Some of them live in air conditioning and some of them don't, but
It's not the best thing. And besides, if you're going to have it, you don't have to have it very, very
freezing
low,
cold, yeah.
because that's not the way to go.
I could sit here and talk to you for hours and hours, William. I am so thrilled that you said yes to come.
Thank you.
I am so thrilled that I have learned so much in this short time that we have together. I would just like you to do a little commercial for your book. It's called
A
A Medicine from Spirit by
Okay.
William Cortland. And I'm sure that you have, I shouldn't mention this, but you do have a phone number in the directory if anyone would like to get in touch with you. Or
Yes.
go to Ollie and take your course.
You can do that, or you can go to my website where it'll tell you all about the book. It'll give you a synopsis. It's William R. J. Cortland. C-O-U, not C-O-R-T. That's an apple. Okay? At WilliamRJCortland.com. You go there, you'll find out all about the book.
Okay, and we're going to find all about you too. And
Yeah, you'll
thank
find
you.
information about
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming. I hope everybody out there has enjoyed the past, 20, 25 minutes, whatever it's been. I could sit here and talk to you. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you again
Thank you.
soon.